Hey Matt, season's about a third of the way through. What do you take from this game and this season so far as you march forward to the rest of the season?
Yeah, obviously today was really trying to do a good job of containing them and not letting them live in the paint on the drives. They have a lot of athletic guards, mobile forwards that can break you down off the dribble. So I thought we did a pretty good job. We got back cut a couple times in the first half that we wanted to stop, and didn't do a good job there. I think we only gave up one of those back cuts in the second half. And but no, just being locked into a scouting report and making improvements in that area and being better in the areas that we emphasize. Most teams, they're going to have some staples, some things that they constantly do, and you have to be able to go out there and make it hard on your opponent. And I think we're making strides in that area and getting better. And obviously, it helps us. I think they got too many offensive rebounds, but overall, we out rebounded by 9. It was a little bit there at the end. We didn't get some rebounds that hurt our numbers, but just keep getting better defensively. Keep working on rebounding, and obviously taking care of the basketball. 14 is pretty high, but the number was pretty solid at one time. And so just keep working in those areas.
Matt, I think you talked before about these non-conference series, kind of scheduling the program more than teams, because you don't know what the team's going to be a couple years down the line. So what ways did you feel like this 4-year run with Marquette was instrumental in guys like Fletcher, Braden, and Trey developing and having to accept the challenge that they present?
Yeah, more than anything, just you're playing a really good basketball team. It's well coached, and they're going to get after you. They're going to pressure the basketball. They're going to make things difficult. So anytime we can get those types of series, whether it's Iowa State or Marquette or teams that are consistently in the NCAA tournament, I think it helps both teams. Obviously, you don't feel as well when you lose those games, just like when we lost last year at Marquette. But it gives you a gauge on where you're at, especially against a particular style. And then that's something that we really try to do, is try to help our resume, help our seed, but also we can't pick who we play in the NCAA tournament. And so you want to play a lot of different people. And even if it makes it difficult on us, and they've made it difficult on us. And we've gotten better in time, and they've gotten better in time. So yeah, we just want to kind of keep doing it. I think it's a little bit difficult. You don't know how sometimes the landscape's going to go, and you can gauge where people are going to be before, and now it's a little bit harder to gauge everything because there's so much change. We're not quite like them. Obviously, they didn't take any transfers. We took a couple, but we don't take very many. We've taken 4 in 5 years, so we're more similar than we are different in that respect.
Kind of going off of that, there are programs that live in the portal. You tend to go after needs through the portal. I think you needed Oscar Clough, and there's no doubt about that. But beyond rebounding, what were you hoping to get out of him, and has he given you more than maybe you expected outside of the boards?
Yeah, the rebounding was the main thing. Obviously, he averaged 18 and 12 last year. And, now you're starting to see a little bit more offense, but he also, his usage level with us is less than it was last year to his defense. So yeah, it really helps us. Like you see there in the second half, and he just kept scoring down there. It really put him in a bind, and they had to change what they were doing. He's a weapon. Daniel and his length and his ability to block shots, and he's a weapon. And then TK's very, very unique in how he plays and how he gets things done. So yeah, it really solidified our front line, and then we got Liam and JB to balance it out as really big guards that can really shoot. So I think we'll stay that way in terms of recruiting high school guys, and then if we have a need in the spring, we'll do it.
Kind of transition into my question. Are you specifically looking for Oscar one-on-one as a bookend to Trey here?
Yeah, that was just it organically happened. We ran a couple things in the second half for him, but after we run stuff and we don't get it, now we get into just our motion game and our movement, and he's allowed to post in that. So it makes sense. The one thing about pressuring people and then dealing with the post is they get extended. So their pressure gets extended. Their long runs, if you want to go deal with the post, So now if you can get deep position, so a lot of times people will post up at 12 to 15 feet and you're so much closer to the wing, so you gotta get that guy out of there. So he had some dribble downs tonight like TK gets, but he was also getting deep position a handful of time where there wasn't a whole lot they could do with it. So yeah, some of them were organically, just kind of happened, and then others were calls.
Matt, when Zach was here, he would say he has right of first refusal offensively.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, offense goes through Braden, but with so many different guys that could be high volume scores,
Right.
just how do you find the balance and kind of happiness there?
Yeah, you're just, you're looking to see what they're giving up more than anything, like what you want to live with, and is that a high percentage play for you? And so like you can mix it up and have like the perfect balance, but against certain opponents, you're not always going to have that. So just, this is what's there, like keep going to it until they stop it, and then, move to something else. I know that sounds pretty simple, but it's true. But yeah, like we orchestrate our roster to have in balance. It doesn't mean every game has balance, but you try, right? You try, but if somebody gets a hot hand, you want to keep going to it.
Hey, Matt, talk about Jack Benter. You've got him as a redshirt freshman this year. Kind of talk about his progress and where you see him moving forward.
Yeah, he has done some good things. He's rebounded when he's been in there, and but he's going through something that he's never been through before, just in terms of his minutes. And sometimes his minutes have nothing to do with anything besides Trey Kaufman getting a rest. And so whether that's fair or not, it's accurate. And that's what I talk to him about a lot. It's just like, hey man, like you got to get yourself ready, and it's hard to sit there and get loose, and then like coming in at the 12-minute mark, 14-minute mark, the 10-minute, because his is different sometimes. It depends on where Trey is with fouls. It depends on Trey's wind, and then we go from there. But he's done a great job. It was good to see him hit a shot, because when you're in those roles, sometimes you get looks, sometimes you don't get looks, and then when you do, sometimes you press a little bit. So no, he's been great for us. He's going to be a good player here.
At the past two games, the defensive energy and attention to detail, especially for Braden, seem like they've been really good.
Yeah.
Any thoughts as to what triggered that to a kind of a higher level?
Just being in the stands, being ready to go, like seeing different situations when we have him as an out man, whether we double the post or whether we're trapping the ball on the baseline. Like it makes it better for us if he's out and he's not involved in that, because now he can roam. He'd be a really good free safety in football. Yeah, I mean, he'd be an unbelievable free safety. His instincts and his ability to see things and kind of play on the ball is really good. And sometimes you can't put the offensive players where you want, right? And that's their deal. So sometimes he doesn't get into that position. So sometimes it's just organically, like him being in the right spots, and then that's really good for us, because he's great at reading eyes and pouncing on people when they make tough passes.
This question may not fit directly with tonight's game, but generally you guys have been strong offensive rebounding this year. You made defensive rebounding such a focus, and bringing Oscar in for that. Did you assume that would naturally lead to better offensive rebounding, that would enhance the efficiency you have there, or is that a different skill set that?
No, the shock that hasn't happened, that didn't happen before, was the consistency of Trey Kaufman rebounding. That's the difference. He's the one that's done it. Oscar's numbers that he's putting out, those are rebounds per minute. That's what he's done before. So like that's, in recruiting, sometimes things don't translate. You can go see a high school kid playing, he can get 40, and you're like, he's just all right. Because some of that just flat out just doesn't translate. But if you make your free throws and you rebound the basketball, and there's other things that translate, but those things there, they translate. Good free throw shooters are gonna stay good free throw shooters, good rebounders. TK had not rebounded like that. So that's a credit to him, because I think that can really help him professionally. Thank you.
Thank you, Max.